Good morning and welcome to the Rewind Show. Yes, the new season, 2022-23 football season. We've got a new look. I've got my best T-shirt on. I'm fine and dandy, Brent. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I've new look, new graphics, new everything, even new starting theme tune. I thought, you know what that sounded like to me? I'm sat there and all of a sudden the theme tune come on. And I'm thinking, where am I? I'm in a printing room here. It sounded like a printing press with all programs running off it. I thought, why me? Where the blinking heck am I?
See, that's where we differ. I was closing my eyes and thinking I was in the Maracanã in Brazil.
Thank you,
that coffee.
Yeah, well, there you go, you see.
Or in Spain enjoying a flamingo show. Flamenco.
Yeah, well, I thought you were blinking printed programs already.
How are you doing, mate? Because we'll soon be printing those programs.
I'm doing all right. Just the same old. I've been doing this a long time, and the thing is, I've got the same frustrations as I always have. The same. The stadium itself is high maintenance, as you know. I mean, we're not like, and this isn't, before we start, these clubs that's got these, what I class as kind of community setups, start thinking I'm having a pop and having a go. I'm not having a go. I'm just saying that, these that even our friends tomorrow, visitors, Avro, they've got one. All these that have these 3G surfaces, and especially those that are in community setups where they've got no maintenance in reality. They're modern, but this, as you know, Bacup, it's an old traditional football ground, and it's because it's old and because of where we are, it's really high maintenance. You've got, it's all right. It's all right getting a strimmer out and starting to strim round bankings and get it down, but a week later you're doing it again, and a week later you're doing it again and doing it again and doing it again. So you're fighting against blinking weeds.
Yeah. Brent, just before we move on, just bow your head down a second.
Oh dear.
Bow your head. There. Can you see on top of his head? That's a war wound from strimming in the Mad Dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun.
There you go. You see, that's it. Anyway, that's another story. Yeah, so it's even this morning, we were in early this morning, and I know I've had a bit of pop a few times at our old friend, trusted friend and good supporter and loyal supporter, Martin McNulty, about jobs that he needs to do. Well, he's redeemed his cell this morning. He's been here in early and done one or two things this morning, so we're pleased about that. Thanks, Martin, for that. I'm really pleased because we had an issue as well with the with the stanchion on the nets for some reason. I think somewhere along the line, I think one of our contractors has caught it with the machines, and it had dislodged something. Anyway, we've sorted it now. So there's always issues. But talking of which, on Martin, I don't know whether you've seen it on YouTube. There's been videos flying about in the summer where you get a blowtorch and you start to, if you go on your seats in your stand,
it can make them new, make them brand new.
It can make them new. So Martin's seen this, hasn't he? He's seen it, so he had this bright idea. He said, "I'll go and get a blowtorch and we'll do this." So he actually did it on the blue seats. There were no problem. He got to the blinking red seats, and needless to say, we were nearly calling the fire brigade.
and as you always say, only at Bacup.
Exactly. See what you're doing. Even at melting them away, they're up in flames. I was talking about fire and flames. Last week we were getting coach prepared for the carnival on the Sunday.
Yeah.
So it hadn't been used for a while, and we have got a dodgy battery on it, and I need to spend a bit of money to put a new battery on it. So I've got some heavy duty jump leads, but needless to say, they didn't reach from my car to the coach, so we needed another pair of heavy duty jump leads. But needless to say, we didn't have any. So, but I found some jump leads that were on the roof rack of the coach. So I connected them up, put them on. About 2 minutes later, they're up in flames. It's on fire. Seriously, if Deborah hadn't been blinking calling me from, I'd have been sat in there and just revving blinking engine up, and there'd have been flames. It'd have been right up.
Do you remember Only Fools and Horses with Jolly Boys outing?
All right, yeah, we're on there.
No, to Margate when they blew coach up.
All right, right. Well, it was a bit like that. So anyway, the next thing is, well, yeah, I have to get on the phone then. So I get on the phone tonight. Say, have you any jump leads night? Say, yeah, well, come up with them. Yeah, I said, I've just burnt the last lot. Dealers said, put nights on. Next thing, get them off quick. They're on fire. Yeah, so
it's been a busy week.
It's been a busy week, yeah, it has, yeah.
How's the pitch looking? Because there's been some work on that. I know Richard's been up and done some work on it.
Yeah, the pitch is the frustrating part about where probably the starting of the season. Again, these clubs with 3Gs, they don't have this issue. They only have the issue of whether they're pre-booked out with other clubs and other teams.
They just rock up and play, don't
they? Just rock up and play, but it's not like that when you've got grass pitches and grass facilities. But yeah, we've had a lot of work. We do every year have a lot of work. But the thing is, when you have this work done, and you know, they put top dress on and reseeded and everything else, in certain areas, you're hoping that you know that there's enough time and the weather's kind to you, that it starts to take and does all right. Well,
oh dear,
the frustrating part for me on the pitch is that we've had really good weather, really hot weather, but we haven't had much rain. Although last night, well, about 2:00 this morning, we had a blinking real severe storm. Thunderstorm and you know, torrential rain, but in the main we haven't had we haven't had the rain like what it needed. And it's been crying out for rain. So there's certain areas, in all honesty, that we could have probably done with a little bit longer in terms of before we play any games on it. But it is what it is. The games are set. We'll just have to we kick off at end of the month, so at the end of the day we just got to grin and bear it. You know, like I say, the goal mouth, you'll come to the goal mouth tomorrow and you'll think, blimey, they're bare, but they're not bare. It's top dress. It's top dress that's there. But you'd like it to have been the perfect pitch, you know, where the grass has already come through the top dress and it's bedded in. But the fact of the matter is, that won't happen. So, but in the main, when you look at it, when you're on it, there's certain places that are a bit sparse. You know, again with the top dress, but in the main, it's in excellent condition. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just that the top dress hasn't. It hasn't. The grass hasn't kind of come through in certain areas yet, and it's probably. In an ideal world, it probably could have done with another 2 weeks before we played on it. In an ideal world, but it's not an ideal world, is it? So no. It is what it is. But that brings me to, you know, I can't understand why, for the life in me, we're having to kick off on the 30th of July. You know, when I started in the North West Counties League, it was never in July. We never played in July. It were a couple of weeks into August. But now it's July. It's just getting sooner and sooner now. Okay, from a player's point of view and a player's perspective, you know, and even probably managers out there who don't have the other mundane task of operating the facilities, and they just wreck up and with a team and play football. They'll be looking forward to it. But the thing is, you know, it's like you haven't got enough recovery time for anything. No. You know, if you think about it, in May, you're playing football in May, right? So we didn't. I mean, our league games, we finished our league games finished. I think our last league game was on the 2nd of April. I think that was our last league game. We were in the quarter-final of the Challenge Cup, so we actually finished playing on the 29th of April. I think I'm correct in saying. Now, but through April and May, there's other teams that you've got your 23s, you've got your 21s that are still playing their football on the pitch. You've got community clubs that are booking the facility for the cup finals. You've got the schools finals. So consequently, you're running into May, well into May, before you can, before you shut your pitch down, ready to do all the remedial work. And then, like in our instance, we have Richard Peel, who's been coming here like almost for 20 years now doing our pitch, but he's a massive concern. He doesn't do just non-league pitches. His prime work is with football league pitches. He does a lot of work down at Burnley's training ground on their pitches. He does work for Bolton Wanderers and Wigan Athletic. On quite a few football league teams. You know what I mean? Up and down the country.
So getting Richard, you've only got a small time frame really to get his services.
To get exactly. So the thing is, he comes in, he assesses it, and then does what work needs, and then we just got to put the pitch to bed. But again, I keep coming back to it's July. Why and then the Northwest Counties have they put a statement out last week whereby we've got a problem yet. We can't release the fixtures, which I understand why they can't release the fixtures. We can't release the fixtures yet because we've got to wait till the Evo Stick release their fixtures. And for those that don't know, the reason why they've got to wait for the Evo Stick to release their fixtures is because there's teams in the league that ground share with Evo Stick clubs. So they've got to wait for their fixtures to come out before they can start compiling, the Northwest Counties fixtures. And the clubs are out there wanting them, supporters out there wanting the fixtures and everything else. So, as you know, just recently, I think it was yesterday or the day before, they issued, we've got a month's fixtures. They can't issue anymore because the Evo Stick haven't released their fixtures. So we've got a month's fixtures. But I'm thinking to myself, why on earth? Why is there all this issue? Why are we not starting our league campaign when the Evo Stick start theirs? Would it not make common sense that we all kick off together and then the Evo Stick will release their fixtures, then Northwest Counties will release their fixtures, and we're all kicking off together and we all do everything together. The deadlines are the same. The FA implement the same deadlines to the Evo Stick as they do to the Northwest Counties. And, okay, you could turn around and say, well, the Northwest Counties have a lot of teams. Well, so have the Evo Stick, to compile with. So it's the same principle. I think sometimes the Northwest Counties League are kind of gambling and playing devil's advocate and thinking, is the COVID situation going to raise it? I can understand it last season because they were worried that there were going to be disruptions, right, because of the COVID. And obviously, like everybody does, you don't want to have a farcical season. You want to get to a conclusion where there's promotion and relegation. So I kind of understand that. But are the Evo Stick not in the same boat that they've got to, get through a season and hope it's not a farcical situation, and they've got to hopefully have promotion and relegation? So, needless to say, last week I posed on an email a question to the Northwest Counties League asking, not knocking the Northwest Counties League, just a straightforward, because I get asked it all the time, why are we kicking off so soon? Why are we kicking off early? And I've posed the question to the Northwest Counties League, and lo and behold, it's fallen on deaf ears. Now, I wonder why it's fallen on deaf ears.
Well, because they haven't got the answer.
Well, they have got the answer, but they probably don't want to tell us the answer. They probably don't want to tell us that the reason why they're doing it is probably the reason why I've just said. They're trying to angle that there's no disruptions, and if there is disruptions, at least they're in a situation where they can get through the season. But it has listen, everybody's hungry and wanting games of football and wanting to play again when you've had a break. I fully understand that. But away from that, if you take your blinkers off, there is a lot of preparation from one season to a new season to go in with a short window. Like, for instance, you've got your ground grading elements of your stadium. So you've got to, you could have damaged buildings, you could have damaged seats, you could have that. They've all got to be repaired.
Well, we've seen that with over the last couple of months with Prestwich A's. People breaking into the ground. They've had a lot of work to do there.
Yeah, 100%. So 100%. So you've got that to sort out, and you've only got a small window. And then you've got, like we just talked about now, you've got the remedial work of your pitch. You're playing through winter months, and your pitch gets an hammering, and then obviously it needs a break, it needs repairing and everything else, and then put to bed, ready to progress the season. And then in addition to that, you've also then got the situation where players are going on holiday. Now, let's be perfectly honest here. You've got to look at I know it's a bone of contention with me, massively a bone of contention, but let's get things straight here. Some players are dictated by their jobs, and they can't take their holidays when I would like them to take their holidays. So they're taking their holidays in the month of July. And if they're booking in at the back end of July, it's impeding on the season because the season kicks off on the 30th. So how many clubs? We're not unique. Bacon Borough won't be unique.
I was going to say, Brett, we've got school teachers. Our centre forward is a school teacher, and he finishes at the back end of July. He has no opportunity to take his holidays any other time.
Exactly. And the simple fact is, I moan and I groan and I have a bit of a go at him, but like he said, and he's right in what he says. He said, I can't just look at myself, Brent. He said, I wouldn't go away. I'd concentrate on my football, but I've got my partner to think about.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So but it then comes back. It comes back when you're starting a season. And listen, we're not unique. Other clubs will be in exactly the same situation. But does it not make, when everybody's looking at league tables on the first game of the season, and everybody's looking on the second game of the season and third game of the season, and make false reading about your teams, wherever your team's standing is in the table, it's false because, I know for a fact with us, we're not going to be anything like the team that what played last season because of circumstances. We've got some absolutely fantastic, tasty players that's come in, and a lot of that is down to the introduction of Gary Johnston and Nigel Langley that have come on board with us to operate our under 23s. But some of the players that's come through them and come in through them, they are really good, technically, and not only quality. Their attitude is the kind of attitude is, again, it's I've said it before on here. It's not just about looking at somebody, Chris Honor, who also I'll mention Chris, who's done an absolutely fantastic job in the summer, with not just with recruitment, but setting up development centres for the younger age groups for the club. And Darren Rees, who's head of youth, they've worked really tirelessly throughout the summer. But when Chris says to me, I've got some players here, do you want to look at the videos? Well, listen, you can bin the videos for me. I don't want to see the videos. What I want to see them, bring them to training. Let's have a look at them. If they're Billy no legs, then they'll be binned. If they're Billy, got plenty of ability, right? But he hasn't got the attitude. But he hasn't got the if he's got the desire, then brilliant. He's got technical ability and the desire, and he shows the commitment. We're happy. He's ticking all the boxes. But if he's got technical ability, but he goes hiding because it's training and he doesn't like training, then he's not who we want. No. So, but a video doesn't tell you that. It doesn't show you that. It's all about attitudes.
Yeah.
So, we have got, even though. it's like even though we've got players missing, and for one reason or another, we have got some good players who will be given their opportunities and their chance, that without a shadow of a doubt. And and it could be one of them if they pick the baton up and run with it and do really well when it all settles down and the holidays are finished, then there might be some quality players that might find themselves
sitting on the bench.
Sitting on a bench. Well, exactly. That's the way it is. That's just tough, isn't it? It's tough. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Brent, tell us about this new rule that's coming to place for the new season. I don't know too much about it, but you probably had a memo or something sent to you regarding it.
Well, in the past, it's always been that you could name 5 substitutes, but you could only play 3.
Yeah.
The new rule is now that you can name 5 substitutes and you can play 5 substitutes. Now, it hasn't gone down right well in certain quarters. And one of the reasons that comes out, what I've seen, which I kind of think is pathetic, the argument against it has always been, pitch that rule, it's no good, get rid of it. That's only favours clubs with a budget. Now, I don't follow that, because if you're a manager worth your salt, and you're trying to attract players to your club, surely from the club's point of view, but I know it doesn't happen, from the club's point of view, you're not just going to spend their money willy-nilly as though it's a blinking candy shop and you can blinking just throw the money about without, because you know what footballers are like, they're mercenaries. And if they can get, and sometimes footballers are not only having mercenaries, but they can easily tell a few white lies, as I've known over the years, right? But it doesn't work with me, these white lies, because they'll turn around and they'll say stuff like, "Oh, I were at blinking Ramsbottom last year and I won this much money." But you know full well might have been at Ramsbottom last year, but they weren't on that money. So that's bully bullshit, right? And especially when it's around me, because at the end of the day, I'm well connected. So it's easy to find out what
you'll just pick up a phone.
Well, exactly. And I mean, I can tell you a tale that I had a player that back in '93, when I was at Rosendale United as manager, I had a player that had been at Burnley, and it wasn't Brian Welsh, by the way. So, if the people are thinking it's Brian Welsh, it wasn't Brian Welsh. I'll tell you who it was. It was a midfield player called Mark Rostron. He'd been at Burnley. He was a good, technically very, very good player. And at the end of the season, we'd had a successful season, but there were a lot of politics. A lot of the board of directors who'd left the club and left them in a sorry state, right? Once they brought me in and they saw a bit of success coming back to the club, they decided to jump on the bandwagon. And when they jumped in the boardroom, when they jumped back on the bandwagon, they kind of ruffled a few feathers, and it got to the end of the season where they wanted, even though we'd been successful, we finished runners-up in the league and we won the Challenge Cup, but they wanted to spend some money on the ground, and they wanted to cut the wage bill that I had by a third, so they could spend the money on the facilities. And I disagreed. That wasn't what I'd gone to Rosendale for. I'd gone to Rosendale. I told them what I kind of wanted as a wage structure. They agreed to it, and when they were afterward, and I delivered what I said I'd deliver. I didn't say definitely we'll win stuff. I said I'll guarantee what business end of the season we'll be knocking on the door, and we were knocking on the door. We finished runners up in the league, but we won a cup. So we won the cup. So I delivered what I said I'd deliver. We had some top players there, and but they still wanted to cut, who were still in contract for the following season, but they still wanted to cut my wage bill. So I decided I was resigning. I weren't having it. So it come to the situation where Mark Rostron, I knew exactly what obviously, because I'm paying him, and I remember a guy called Brian Kettle. I think he was I'm not sure if he was the Southport manager at the time. and he'd shown an interest in Mark. And Mark said to me, will you come with me? Will you come with me and give me a bit of advice, like, you know? And I said, well, yeah, I'll take you, but I'm not going to get involved in it. Anyway, so it ended up where he's talking to Brian Kettle, and he said to Brian Kettle, oh yeah, Rosendale United. Now this real lad were on 50 quid. So he's gone, yeah, Rosendale United, I were picking up 130 quid, right, from 50 quid. Yeah. So I've gone, you what? Are you thinking absolutely for real? I said, listen, Manchester Evening News have done an interview with me, and they're, God rest his soul, I think he's dead now, David Meek, with the editor. And David Meek did an interview with me in the Manchester Evening News of why I was resigning from Rosendale United, and one of them was, you know, I told him it was connected to the, you know, I'd gone there with the pretense of this, this wage bill, yeah. And you know, I got the players in to fit the wage bill, but then after a successful season,
they were pulling the rug.
Yeah. They were pulling the rug, and they'd been relegated the season before I came in. And I told him the figure what my wage bill were. I said my wage bill was £600. That was my total wage bill, right? Yeah. In that 1993, £600, right? So I said to Matt Robson, "Are you for real? When he sees that right up there,
he's going to do the sums."
And one player's on £130 a week.
One fifth of his wage bill on one player.
So you know what I'm saying. But what I'm trying to get at, the moral of this story is, you know, the bullshitters.
Yeah.
And as a manager, you've got to sit down. It's not about, and one of the things I always say, listen, I'm not interested in what you were getting at Rameh. I'm not interested in what you were getting at Choil. I'm not interested. I'm telling you what you'll get at Bakeup. But what you will get at Bakeup is this, and this, and this. We'll do this for you. We'll do that for you. You've got this. You've got that. You've got the other. So my point is, with these people who are saying this about the 5 sub rule is bonkers, because and saying it only affects the teams with good budgets. No, because if you've got a player in front of you, surely to goodness, when you're negotiating, there could be times through coming back through injury, loss of form, or anything that he's not going to be in the team, or he's going to be on the bench. So surely to goodness, when you're negotiating with a player, you don't say when you're on the bench as named as one of the subs, you're going to get full money. You probably negotiate something like, if you're on the bench and you're an unused sub, you only get a proportion of your money. Or whatever. It's how you manage it. So I don't get that only suits clubs with.
But that's where it's so important to get your negotiations right at the beginning.
Correct, 100%. You just, you know. But I think there's managers out there who call themselves managers, and they just say, if Billy the Kid comes in and Billy the Kid's the top player and Billy the Kid asks for this, Billy the Kid gets it. And it's no wonder they get, and sometimes it's no wonder they get the sack, because the chairman
it's easy spending someone else's money, though.
Money, exactly. And the chairman looks at his budget and thinks, blinking heck, I'm spending some money here. Yeah. Well, how come you're paying Billy the Kid that much money? You know, and stuff like that. And then they wonder why they get sacked.
Yeah. And it's usually for, not keeping an eye on the budget.
Well, yeah, exactly. So I disagree that 5 sub rule is for clubs with a budget. Do I like it? Of course I like it.
Yeah.
Of course I like it.
But also, we mentioned it off air, Brent. I like it because, you know, there's quality players within our squad who've spent a lot of time last season on the bench who have got a better chance of getting some game time now.
Well, yeah.
It's going to keep everyone happy.
100%, yeah, exactly. Well, it's not just about keeping everybody happy. I wouldn't make a substitution just for the sake of keeping everyone happy. That wouldn't be in my remit, that's for sure. You know, but if there's people, if you've got 4 players that's not on it for one reason or another, or are struggling with, then you could only change 3 positions. Now you can change 4 positions.
Yeah. So those players that are on the pitch have got to step it up a little bit, because they know there's a chance they could get brought off if they're not producing the goods.
If you think about it, it's over half. It's kind of half your team that you could change.
Yeah.
So when I look at it from that point of view, do I think it's good? Of course, I think it's good. I think it's a great rule. So,
pre-season, pre-season. You mentioned it. Avro tomorrow night. Should be a good game against them because we had a cracking game in the Macron Cup against them and a quality team.
It'll be Well, listen, it's funny because he rang me up this week. A former player who's turned out for me a few times, but an ex-football league player, Jason Jarrett, Wigan Athletic and Oldham Athletic, and Jarrett. He's been
did he not play against us in that Macron game?
No, he didn't play. He hasn't played against. He hasn't played against us. No. He's a football league player. He's a former football league player. But he turned out for me a couple of seasons back, probably just before, 2 seasons before COVID. I think he turned out for Bay Cup for a few games. He's a good lad. And he's like I say, he's had a few football league clubs, Wigan, Oldham. In fact, he played on. They had a game, I think, at Avro, didn't they? Last Sunday, Oldham Athletic supporters, I think it were. Were it Oldham supporters versus some of the former players that were, and I think it were for charity, to raise some money for charity. He played in that game. Anyway, he rang me over something else. It was a business matter he rang me about, and we got talking about the Avro, and he said, "Oh, it's not a bad setup there. It's a good setup. I played there on Saturday or Sunday," and then I just basically said to him, I said, "You know what? It was a really, really good. I really enjoyed that game at Avro because it were two quality footballing sides that were on show that night, and that game could have gone either way. If there ever a time that you want one of your magic players who's got great feet to produce something, even that producing is only half a yard, and a tired defender blinking happens to catch you, and you're down you go, and you get a penalty, and
last kick of the game.
There's no coming back from it. So that was what happened. But listen, it could have gone either way. There were two good sides, honest sides on that night. And I really, really did enjoy it from a real perspective of both teams. It was a real proper football match, not boring or anything. No long balls. Everything was technical, and it was very, very, very good. And I really, really enjoyed that game. And I was telling him about it and saying I really enjoyed the game. So coming to tomorrow night, I think it'll be different in terms. I still think it'll be the football spectacle that we had at Avro, because I can't see that philosophy changing from their point of view. They're still going to do the same, and it certainly won't change from our point of view because that's what we do. So I think on that front it will be the same. It's pre-season, so it'll be good. It'll be interesting. But what will be interesting and I'm sure Avro are doing it because they'll have some new players in that they'll want to gel and get into the team structure, is the new players that kind of that's come into our ranks and who's been training hard. We'll see how it goes, but there will be. I'm not one in pre-season games to have a lot of players around us, and then it starts to get a farcical situation where you're subbing, you're subbing. That won't be happening. And I've told the lads that we've had great numbers at training, all the way through. Fantastic numbers, really good numbers, and the lads have done well. And in the main of certainly the new kids have. I've not been right happy with some of the players from last season. I think in certain instances, I think they've been. Some of them have been in holiday mode. So, it is what it is. And I think some of them have got back to their old ways where they're taking too many touches and getting caught in possession. That needs to be knocked out of them again. And I've not been right happy with, again, it comes down to work rate, and when I see players in training, I've said it on the show before, in games you can hide. You can't hide on a training complex where you're into competitive running and competitive drills where you're competing against another team at side of you. You can't hide. That whistle, once that blows, it's a race and it's on.
And the stopwatch.
And the stopwatch. You can't. Whereas in a game, you can. And there was a situation in a training game last week. It frustrated the blinking life out of me with certain players. Like for instance, when you lose possession and you've got to do your recovery run and they're ambling in and jogging in instead of breaking a sprint. You've got to break a sprint. If it's hurting you, let it hurt you. That's how you're getting fit. But you've got to break a sprint. And when I see people ambling and jogging, it doesn't half wind me up. It makes my blood boil. So then things need down. But the new lads that's come in, the ones that are trying to make a mark and show what they're about and probably hope that they'll get a chance, they have impressed, really impressed. So the interesting part tomorrow will be some of them, not all of them, but some of them have been called in and will be called in later, and they will get game time. I'm not saying they'll start straight away. Some might start straight away, but some won't. But they will get game time, and it will be interesting to see what these lads are like in a game situation. So all in all, it bodes well for a nice Friday night. Relaxed. The result doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who wins. It doesn't matter who loses. Pre-season's about that. It's about looking at new players that fit into your system, fit into how you play, having a look to see if they're, in certain positions, if they're up to the physicality of the league you're playing, and whether they can, they're ready for that step up, and that's what it's all about. The result is immaterial because it doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's you always want to win, but it's immaterial. That's not what we'll be looking at. We'll be looking at, well, he's done really, really well, both in and out of possession. He's technically very good. He can pass the ball. He's got both feet. He's strong. He's physical. He can win headers. He can compete. That's, them are the things that we're looking for. And so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I just got it going across the bottom there. Those are the opening games. I know you've not even looked at the fixtures because it's not something.
Listen, Steve, let me just tell you about this. You can tell me, you can call me what you want, right? But when I see on social media, right, and listen, don't take this the wrong way, people, but I'm just saying it as it is, right? So the league AGM's approaching. I kind of see everything on social media. Oh, it's the highlights of our year. We're going to the league AGM on Saturday. Blinking heck. I think, blinking heck, what's that? Is that your... Blimey, you must be leading a sheltered life if that's your highlight of you to go to an AGM at Blackpool. Blimey. Yeah. And that's what you get.
We say Colin.
Yeah, well, you did a good job, Nick.
Cheers, Colin.
Yeah, top man. But you know what I mean? Then you see it and you think, oh no, give it a break. Is this your highlight? Is this your holiday? But then on top of that, I've not seen as many people jumping up. Fixtures are out. Whoa, they're having an orgasm over fixtures. I'm thinking, what the hell? Yeah. There's a stonewall certainty whether it's the Premier League fixtures coming out, Championship fixtures coming out, North West Counties fixtures coming out. There's a stonewall certainty at some point we will play AFC Blackpool twice. At some point we will play Ilkley twice. At some point we will play Geistang twice. Does it matter whether it's at the beginning of the season, middle of the season, end of the season? It's a stonewall certainty. So the only thing I look for on a fixture list is, I hope we're not going to Cleator on a blinking midweek.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We don't want Ulker Old Boys or Cleator on a Tuesday night.
Exactly. That's the only thing I look for. I don't give an absolute monkey's whatever, right? Who we play, first match, second match, third match, fourth match. I'm not interested because it's a name at the end of the day. Their team last season will probably be different this season, right? So it's immaterial. Wherever they finished up last season is immaterial. It's gone. It doesn't matter. Where we finished, it's gone. So it doesn't matter. It's a new brush, sweeps clean. But I'm certainly not going to have an orgasm over fixtures.
Well, let's talk about something which is exciting. We mentioned it before. Chris Honor has come to the club and he's absolutely hit the ground running. And one thing that we've introduced at Baker Borough is this, Brent. Football in the community. More than a game. It's happening.
It is, yeah. It's fantastic. Yeah. You know, this is the future. This is what it's all about. You know, and what that does, it you know, there's a lot of teams in the valley, a lot of junior sides in the valley, well-run junior sides with volunteer coaches, mainly probably parents and things like that. But what it does, it gives the youngsters, you know, they're still playing within their own setups, within their own team, but it also gives the youngsters to come and have a taste of probably a different dimension to what they'd be used to in their junior setup. When I say a different dimension, because the mentality of the coaches here at Bacup, or what we're building at Bacup, is because the nature of, you know, we're in the National League system, and, you know, I've always, since I've been here, is tried to run this football club both in-house and out there on the pitch, and with my coaching staff and everything, you know, on the same template as a football league club. So everything's the same. Now, they can be out. So discipline starts at a young age. I know you've got to enjoy yourself, but there's still got to be some sort of discipline come into it. It's no good letting like a kiddies team go out there and they're playing football. My battery's going to go, Steve, by the way.
Okay.
It's just come up. So it's no good playing football and then letting them play and there's no discipline being put into them, and then they get to an older age. Trying to implement discipline at an older age when they've had a few years without any discipline is difficult. But whereas you can get them at a younger age, you know, all sorts of things, you know, I'm not saying strict, you're still letting them enjoy it, but there comes a time where you've got to implement so they're ready for, if they're good enough to come into a club like our football club, and they can, you know, it's not alien to them. They're not just kicking balls everywhere and smashing things and climbing up fencing, and, you know, you know what I'm saying? How kids do, you know. So and I kind of think that it gives them a feel to be part of the town senior football club.
Yeah, well, it's fantastic work that Chris is doing, and Andrew Knights, of course, with all the commercial partnership stuff that he's done. We'll be live on comms tomorrow. I'll be back under the covered terrace with my good mate Andrew Knights. Live match commentary of tomorrow's pre-season friendly at home to Avro. Enjoy your day, mate.
Top man, thank you.
See you later.
Bye.